work session and executive session, and we are now coming to start our regular session. And so if you please join me and start our regular session with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. I am also in need of a motion to approve minutes from our April 15th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Any conversation? Seeing none. Mr. Bevan, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
5-0.
Wonderful. So we've reached our favorite part of our meeting. Item 5, superintendent's presentations.
Yes, thank you so much. We are excited. Each month we try to bring a new story to our community. We do encourage everyone here and everyone watching to share this story. It is a way for you to dive into the district in a wayfinding moment. And so Tracy's going to tell us a little bit about this month's wayfinding video.
Tonight, we invite you to watch our April wayfinding video to discover how peak moments are being intentionally created throughout our district and how they help foster community and connection through a Comets journey in Mason City Schools. At Mason City Schools, we know that in a district as large and vibrant as ours, it's important that every student feels seen, valued, and connected. That's why we intentionally design peak moments, inclusive, joyful experiences that help make our big schools feel smaller. It begins at Mason Early Childhood Center, where hands-on adventures spark lifelong memories, from cool critters to the enchantment of the Cincinnati Opera, the creativity of a puppetry workshop, and the celebration of growth in our second grade send-off. These moments make school magical for our youngest learners. At Mason Elementary, students build community while exploring language and service. Idiom Day brings figurative language to life in the most literal way, as students dress up to express phrases like raining cats and dogs and when pigs fly. And during the Senior Citizen Breakfast, students sing, serve, and spread holiday cheer to community members whose lives reflect generations of impact. These experiences spark joy and connection in and beyond the classroom. At Mason Intermediate, students dive deep into purpose and passion. They test their knowledge in the Black History Bowl and unite in gratitude at the Veterans Day celebration. These peak moments deepen understanding and celebrate what connects us. Mason Middle School students shine through experiences they help shape. In Moments with a Difference Maker, 7th graders share gratitude with someone who's impacted them. 8th graders lead the way at Comic-Con, presenting real conferences built around their passions. And we all come together loud and proud at pep rallies to celebrate one another. At Mason High School, peak moments are big, bold, and student-driven. From food trucks and games during Connect Time to creative expression at senior parking painting and timeless traditions like homecoming, prom, and senior week. Every celebration reflects our students' voices, values, and vibrant community. And when our teams win it all, we roll out the drumline for the Parade of Champions, because every victory is shared. Whether it's a concert, a conference, or connection with someone who matters, these peak moments are more than just fun. They're the heart of Comet culture. We're proud to be big, and even prouder to feel small where it counts.
So if you saw that this evening for the first time, please share that with someone else. We do encourage anyone that's watching to do the same. Thank you, Tracy Carson and our group from our public information team to put that together each month. It's so nice to see in a big district. I love that line. It's a big district. We're proud of that and the experiences that we create, but also small where it matters and in the community. And so you saw all those peak moments come together because of the people. And peak moments is something that anchors out of some reading that we did early on together with The Power of Moments, I think by Dan and Chip Heath, and really building epic moments and elevated moments that kids remember. And so we are so proud to continue to provide peak moments for our students and our families. Our next, speaking of a peak moment, and I heard you say the champions, right? The parade of champions, but well, we have a champion here this evening. So I'd like to introduce Coach Avitato, Coach Oliver, and our Division I girls triple jump state champion, Carrington Harper. Please come up to the podium. Congratulations.
Thanks for having us. My name is Tony Avitato, head boys and girls track coach. I'm going to turn over the mic to Coach Oliver. As in our program, as large as it is and as much support as we have a lot of great assistant coaches with us that help the kids as we move throughout the season. We have a lot of different event coaches, and Coach Oliver handles all the jumps inside our program. And in a given meet, you can have the high jump, long jump, triple jump all in that meet. And Carrington has done all those for us, and Coach Oliver has been one of my assistants for the last 20 years. So it is great to have him as part of the program and all he does as one of our most trusted assistants. So I want to turn it over to him because he's the person that really has coached and role modeled for Carrington along the way to get her to where she is today as a senior, getting ready to compete at the collegiate level when she leaves us. So it's been awesome. So I want to turn it over to Coach Oliver.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank Coach Avitato for that wonderful introduction of me, and I appreciate you. And just know that, like, the culture he's established, that's why I've been around for 20 years, because he's been a brother for me, and I really appreciate him in my life. But we're here to talk about Carrington, not me, so I want to talk about Carrington here for a little bit. But I do appreciate Coach Avitato. So Carrington Harper, she is a senior, and I'm telling you that again because you need to know that she has been a solid athlete for me for 4 years. And so her freshman year, she qualified for the indoor state meet, and so she's been up there 4 times, and she's also qualified in multiple events. As Coach Avitato said, I'm the jumps coach, which is the long jump, high jump, and triple jump. Carrington actually can do multiple events, but we have put her as our jump specialist, and she is taking that role and ran with it. She's actually getting looked at for the high jump, but then we went up to the state meet, the indoor state meet in Aspire Institution in Geneva, Ohio. And she, for those of you who in track, she triple jumped 35 feet. And her college coach is very happy. But then when he saw Division I coaches come up to her, he got sad again. So, she has the opportunity to make decisions. So her final decision's not solidified yet, but it will be here soon. Something cool when coaching track and think about all the athletes and the number that's in track, and then think about the great state of Ohio. I'm at the indoor state meet, and I cannot hear the referee's marks that he's calling. I can't hear them all. I mean, I can hear hers, and there's not a lot of good Wi-Fi reception in there. So I really don't know where we're at in things. And one of the coolest moments is after her third jump, she came up to me and she had this big smile on her face, and she says, "Coach, I'm going to give you a state championship." And I was thinking, well, but this is awesome. This is nice. She goes, "I'm going to win a state championship for you because I'm going to do this." And I was like, okay. And we still had more jumps to go, and she went out there and she did it. And so, again, a lot of coaches out there, a lot of athletes out there. So I'm extremely, extremely blessed to have this moment with Carrington. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Carrington Harper, who is our Ohio Indoor State Champion in the triple jump.
First, I want to Thank you guys for allowing me to come here. This means a lot to me. I would like to thank my coaches for pushing me to this point. I would like to thank my dad specifically, because he's been my coach from soccer when I was a kid, throughout different sports, volleyball, track. He's just always been my biggest supporter. And obviously I would like to thank the rest of my family because, they're like my besties too. I'm not sure what to say exactly because they've covered everything. It's been a long journey coming up to here for not placing at all, different events for each state. It's just been a lot, and I was just so happy to be able to come in first because last year I was third. I was a little upset, but now I had my redemption, and yeah.
Just take us through what those jumps, how many jumps you had, how the whole competition kind of
drama that day. Can you tell us
there's
the
a ton of
story?
it's the state meet matters. There's nothing but drama. Everything's on the line.
Well, it wasn't necessarily drama, but I was a little nervous. So obviously, as an upperclassman, I just feel like I have the obligation to win because I can't let an underclassman win. This one girl, she was a sophomore, I think. She jumped a 35.11 and a quarter, I think. And I jumped a 35.11 and 3/4. So I was a little scared when I heard a 35. I was like, oh my God. But I made it out. But that's the only drama. Each jump was getting better and better. Sometimes I'd hear 34. I was like, oh, that's not going to cut it. Sometimes I'd hear maybe even a 33. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. But I got a 35. I kept on jumping pretty high numbers. So I wasn't worried too much about I was pretty confident in my skills. I'll just say that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what goes into the technical aspects of the triple jump? Because when I watch track and field, that's one event that I'm just terrified of. It looks like it is just prone for, all sorts of complications, disaster, foot fault, losing track of how many times I've jumped in the sand. When did you first start competing in the triple jump, and what have been some of the things that you've had to learn along the way?
Okay, so I started freshman year. I think we needed just another triple jumper, and this one senior that adopted me, she's like, oh, I got you, I'll show you. She hated it actually, so I love her though. She was like, you're gonna be great, I can already tell, you're just gonna push through. And at first, I felt so goofy because you jump twice on one leg and then one on the other, then into the sand. It is definitely really hard on your body because it's just pounding after pounding. Since we don't practice it that much, I wasn't I was kind of nervous, thinking oh, am I gonna be good enough for it? But yeah, it was just you don't really have to worry about the counting, really. It's routine. At some point you get it. Since just I'm a very rhythmic person, I count my steps constantly, so I'm not worried about the numbers. It's 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much how the rhythm should be. Anyway, but yeah, it's pretty hard on your body.
When you say you don't practice it a lot, is it because of the wear and tear and impact on your body? So it's something you kind of.
I already have leg problems because I do all 3 jumps, so it comes with the territory. But I feel that one definitely ruined my body a little bit more.
So you're gonna be limping around when you're my age, pretty
Let's
bad,
hope
huh?
not. So.
Carrington, how is your last outdoor season going? I mean, how are you just preparing or planning to take it all in as your last experience at Mason High School?
I'm just trying to live my best senior year, focus on myself, just let it all out there, troubles and all, because right now my high jump is not the best, but I'm I should be good. I'm pretty confident that this season is my season. I'm gonna make it to state for high jump, maybe long jump, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm pretty confident in everything. It's been kind of smooth sailing. There's been a little bit of bumps. Haven't been getting the marks I've been wanting, but it is too early in the season to really tell if my actual progress.
Yeah.
So
It's still cold outside.
Well, yeah, that's what.
so that's
right.
definitely a major factor.
What is your plan for the future, and how will you take your experience in track and you utilize it? Oops, sorry. Are you looking to coach perhaps, or are your career goals something a little different? How do you see all this playing in your future?
So my end goal is to become a surgeon, whether it's a plastic or orthopedics. I'm still teetering on the side, but like hopefully one of those two. So it's nothing really track related at all. But I will say the coaches have definitely instilled leadership skills and being organized, being able to put up with a lot of stuff. Coach Oliver has definitely seen me a little stressed when I have to do all 3 jumps, running back and forth, but at the end of the day, I still manage to be able to do all of them. I will be like, oh, okay, if I do this, then I can like cut off this, and then, so they've definitely instilled a good sense of leadership, organization, and just just trusting the process. So that's that. I am doing it in college, but that's mainly because I just am a very routine person. I've done a sport since like as far as I can remember. So I've always had a fall sport and then a spring sport. So I did football team. I was a team manager for football for a second for fall, and track is my spring sport. So that's the main reason why I'm doing track in college. Not necessarily because I'm like, ooh, I think I can go to the Olympics. If I do, cool, like that's great. But that's not my main goal. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
You have very polished, finished appeal to you. So just from where I sit right now, you look like you're really ready to take on the rest of the big world.
Thank you.
So first, additional shout out to Coach Oliver, because he's on a little bit of a hot streak. This is his 2nd consecutive indoor state champion. After having none, he's had 2 in consecutive indoor, 1 in long jump, and that young lady has graduated, and now he has Carrington. So, you got to keep the thing rolling. We got to move this thing outdoors.
Is it a hat trick if you get a high jump next year?
It's a grand slam. It's the grand slam. It's the grand slam. But to keep the focus on Carrington, I have loved watching you develop as an athlete, as a leader now. Which one, I got 2 questions. Which one's your favorite jump? Which one's your favorite event? Okay. And then the second, just talk about what track has given you and the community and how it's helped you grow and develop as a young woman.
So my favorite event is always my best event personally. So I'd say triple. Like it was high jump, and then now I'm slowly going down. So right now I'm loving triple right now. I'm obsessed.
Triple got you here. I get it.
I'm a number 1 fan for triple and long jump right now. But how track has formed me as a person. First, I just love the community. Track is such like a welcoming community. Personally, I'm not really a team sport person, just because like if I do my part, someone else could be dragging, and I just can't. I just am like I'm like, do your part type of person. So that's the main reason why I love track, because you get your individuality a part of it, but you're still a part of a team. You still have your community. Like, yes, I may be competing against my teammate, but I'm always like, we're 1 and 2. We're 1 and 2. It doesn't matter who is 1. It doesn't matter who is 2. We're always just going to be the top 2 every time. We got this. So it definitely has created like long relationships and friendships I've had. Like, I think I became best friends with Elizabeth due to track, and just a great experience personally, and just opens your eyes to like just everyone is different. Even like D2 schools that we've competed against, like it doesn't matter division, everyone's the same, everyone's great, the community's great. Even if it could be so competitive, at the end of you could lose and the person will still hug you like you did a great job, like I hope I see you again at the next meet. It's just a great community, and just brings lifelong friendships in my opinion.
Do they hope to see you again at the next meet if you don't lose?
I don't know.
There's a few schools that doesn't like to see the green and white show up.
Be happy to
It's,
see you graduate.
Yeah. They tell us that they're not happy that we show up with 45 people and they've got 10. But also shout out to Mr. Harper for sitting through track meets and rolling through the you got to move from one. She's got one pit, triple and long, and then you got to move around to high jump, and it's not always necessary. One may be over here and the other may be over there. But as a parent, to support your daughter to get to this point, that's special. So congratulations to you as well. So, of course, Carrington, we appreciate you. Well done. Great job. We love to take a photo and give you a gift. But congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job, Keem. Yeah, good job.
I told him. I love it. Keep the dream alive. I like it.
See you, Coach. Good job.
This is the moment that we pause and give those that want to take leave and head home and a chance to do that. And if not, please feel free to stay. And we'll give it a moment. All right, well, we have arrived to item number 6, hearing of the public. And Tracy, it looks like we have one request today. So, Ms. Tara Lovitz, if you'd like to come down, let me read this. Community participation at board meetings is limited to the hearing of the public portion of the meeting. The board will not deliberate or decide any issue during the hearing of the public section. Each person is allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. In order to prevent disclosure of student or employee private information, the board will not allow any complaints about specific employees of the district in public session. So, Ms. Lovitz, the floor is yours.
Hello, Tara Lovitz. When I planned on attending tonight, I didn't expect to speak, but about an hour ago, I felt compelled to do so. So that I can stay on track and get through this in the time, I'm going to pretty much read from my notes. First, I want to thank Dr. Cooper for reaching out to the community in recent newsletters and drawing attention to the current threats facing our public schools. I appreciate the open conversations at Coffee with Cooper, and before I begin, I want to acknowledge the incredible pressure that comes with leading a district of this size, especially during such a turbulent time, and that weight is not lost on me. My family moved to Mason almost 10 years ago, specifically because of the exceptional programming offered to students with disabilities. My son, now a freshman at the high school, has autism and has been supported through our SCSF specialized classroom since first grade. When we moved here, our daughter, also a freshman now, was just starting kindergarten. At the time, we didn't yet know how much she too would benefit from the above and beyond services Mason provides. She was identified early on for reading intervention and has often been what educators call a bubble kid, the kind who might skate by without services, but who would struggle and probably grow to dislike school. When she was 7, a psychologist at Children's Hospital told us we should be prepared to celebrate her C's. But instead, we've been celebrating something else entirely. Thanks to the incredible educators and support staff who saw her strengths and met her needs, she's now wrapping up her freshman year with a 3.9 GPA and a deep love of learning, so deep, in fact, that she dreams of becoming a teacher. I'm confident that neither of my children would be where they are today without the care, dedication, and quality that we all call Mason education. Now to why I'm speaking tonight. I want to believe that everyone at this table is on the same side, that we all agree the proposed state budget and legislation like Ohio House Bill 96 threaten the very programs that change the course of my children's lives. If passed, those services may not be there for the next children entering our kindergarten classrooms. We risk losing what made my daughter succeed. We risk larger class sizes, fewer paraprofessionals, and major cuts to our specialized classrooms. If you haven't already, I encourage each of you to spend some time in one of our SCSF rooms. Imagine what happens when we stretch those already thin resources even further. The impact on our most vulnerable learners would be devastating. I'm asking each of you to be willing to get uncomfortable. This is not the time to toe the party line or worry about who we might offend. Now is the time for bold leadership. We need to be the ones sharing personal stories and making sure our legislators understand exactly what's at stake. We're talking about the lives and well-being of our children, of our entire community. Each of you and the many who have come before you have poured your hearts and souls into making Mason what it is. I'm almost done. I'm asking you to continue showing up, not out of fear, but with courage, clarity, and conviction. Our children, especially our youngest learners, don't have a voice in this fight. They can't advocate for the reading support they may lose or the smaller class sizes they so desperately need. That responsibility falls on us, on you. Please use your seat at this table to stand up for them. Be bold, be vocal, and continue to stand up and protect what makes Mason exceptional. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lovitz. Don't see that we have any other speakers, so we will move to number 7, Superintendent's recommendations, personnel items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Dr. Cooper.
Yes, just wanted to run through a few things on our personnel recommendations. In Section B, you'll see Deanna Todd, which we'll get a second to hopefully meet here in just a minute, is coming on as our interim Mason Intermediate Principal. We have been served well there with Mr. Messer, who I see up here as well, and I'm just so grateful for the team that they've built and the leadership they've built. Section E, Mark Merzanowski, speaking of someone who has built a legacy here, he is giving us his retirement notice. I don't know if we can just vote no on that today, but Mark Merzanowski has given us just a life of commitment to Common Country. He was an assistant principal at the middle school, and he took over our transportation department and has just done phenomenal work building a culture of people feeling heard and seen and respected, and just a community there. So we're just so grateful. He is his retirement notice is for January 1, 2026. We are in the search and interview process for a new transportation director now. So please continue to spread the word on that. And we have been meeting good people along the way. Section H in your document, we have lots of new teachers. We have probably, in my time here as a superintendent, a record amount of new teachers coming on, and some are brand new, some are a couple years in, and then we have a couple seasoned teachers depending on the specific situation. So we're just so grateful. We want to welcome everyone. If you're watching this tonight and you see your name on there, welcome. And then we have lots of support planned for you with our new personalized professional journey pathways. And so we're excited to bring you on and some of the legacy work that Mr. Messer is taking on as well. Section I, we have wellness dollars that are going to be used. You'll see that show up in a couple places. We have wellness funds that come from our insurance that have to be used for wellness initiatives in the building. And so in Section I, you'll see there are some wellness dollars being used at Mason Elementary. And then I believe there are some wellness dollars being used later on in the agenda under section AF and a just different section with Mason Intermediate. So when you see those aren't just coming out of general budgets, coming out of our wellness work, and our insurance or our health team works on that and has created some opportunities to extend that. And we have some more announcements coming up later in the year with some of the work that we're doing with our wellness dollars. So excited about that. We do have in section L, we have some retirements that continue. So please, we're thankful and grateful for the retirements that people are giving us their notices now so that we can get moving forward on our processes. So, and congratulations to all those that are moving on in the next chapter of their world and their story. In section P, we have a new boys head basketball coach, CJ Fleming. I know they have been practicing. He was going to stop by tonight, but they're practicing. So glad to see we're practicing. So congratulations to our basketball team and to him and his team coming on. Section AD, we have one note, just a note in there, the Bollywood dance. We have all kinds of great enrichment opportunities, and a lot of times our enrichment opportunities show up in the treasurer's report. Because this is an employee and connected with our district in that way, it will show up here in the agenda. But the Bollywood dance, and we're just so grateful that our employees are offering enrichment opportunities for our kids, especially Bollywood dance. That's very popular. So thank you for that. And I believe those are all there's lots of other things in the personnel items document. If anybody has questions about it, that's out there, or follow-ups, I'm happy to talk to you about those. But those are the highlights for this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Any other commentary?
Just a quick question. I saw we've got a new basketball coach. I also see him elsewhere in the personnel.
Teaching.
He is going to be teaching social studies, I believe, and we're excited. I know I got a text message from a parent of their district saying, thanks a lot for taking my kid's favorite social studies teacher. And then another personal connection, I was at AAU basketball this weekend and just trying to enjoy the game, and had a person come up and say, are you Dr. Cooper? Which is always an interesting thing when I'm way outside of the realm of when I'm traveling on AAU basketball. And
Most terrifying introduction you could hear.
Where that's going to go. So I said, yes, I am. And he said, hey, I just want you to know these kids out here, they love their coach, and you just got a good coach. So I hope you appreciate what you got. And so we were playing some kids from his former team, and they were working hard out there. Just for record, we did end up beating them. But Wyatt's the only Mason kid on that team, so I can't say it's a Mason thing, but that is the AAU circuit. And so, yeah, he's also going to be teaching social studies. Glad to have him come on. I did miss one. I have to mention Will Fenning is one of our former students and athletes, went on to Ohio State to be, I believe, a pitcher and maybe another position too. He's coming back as an alumni to help coach our kids in baseball. So
awesome.
His mom also works for us as well. So excited to see him come back. Thank you for asking.
Interesting but true connection. CJ Fleming's dad coached my next youngest cousin at LaSalle.
Oh, nice.
So
Another
know
coach.
the Fleming family well. But also want to say thank you to the Todd family for your continued service. It's not anything new or anything we don't expect. But you taking this step for the district and leading that building means everything to us. We trust you. We believe in you. And so we know that you'll do a wonderful job in this new role. So excited to see you grow and flourish in it. So
Mrs. Todd, we're going to wait. We're going to vote first, then we're going to make you come up there, and then we're going to say some more nice things.
For
if
sure.
you don't mind.
fair. Any further commentary?
None at this time.
Perfect. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Gobbin?
Yes.
Mrs. Bacci?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
So Deanna, Todd, we would love to welcome you to the podium here just to say a few words. And while you're coming up, I know you, if you'd introduce your family as well, and then we'll have some comments for you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I do have my husband, Condi Todd, here with me, my daughter, Jordan, and my son, Camden, who's just looking so relaxed. But thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to the board, thank you to Dr. Cooper, and just all of you for trusting me to be Mason Intermediate's interim principal for next year. I am honored to serve the staff, the students, and the family in this new role. Mason Intermediate is near and dear to my heart. It's where I started my career. It's where I've been the entire time. So to serve the community in the same building, just in a different role, I'm grateful for that. And I know the title says interim in it, but I am ready for the next year to come in with full momentum, to work hard and do my best alongside the most supportive staff. And I have some great mentors by my side to help make sure we stay in my strong. One of them, Eric Messer, which we were so sad to see him leave the building, but we are so thankful for all that he's done in the building. So, geez, oh Pete, made me get a little emotional there. But again, I just want to say thank you, and I am pumped, I'm honored, and I'm grateful to be able to follow in these footsteps and try to keep MI going strong. So, yeah.
Gianna, to echo what Ian said, we're so grateful that you are stepping up into this role. We couldn't be happier to see a homegrown talent who has just lived MI through and through, taking the helm. We're so excited to have you in the seat for next year. So we thank you for stepping up to the challenge and serving in this way. We can't wait to see what happens in the building. The only sad thing to me is that it'll be the first year that I don't have any kids in that building, but I'll still be able to see all the awesome stuff that's happening there. So Todd family, thank you for letting us use your mom in this way, and your wife. And fun facts too, I think my wife had one or both of you.
Actually, both of them.
Both of you as your phys ed teacher at Liberty. Mrs. Steele. That's my claim to fame. You might have just, it's fair, you might have just known her as gym teacher, and that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I get instant credibility with people. You had my wife. But thank you, seriously. We're so excited.
Welcome. We are very pleased, and I just personally want to tell you, just the comments and the just a lot of positive feedback from the people who work with you. So we are thankful that you stepped up, and I know that it's a big plate and big shoes to fill, and it's going to take a lot of time from your family, and you have young children. So thank you for dedicating yourself to us.
This time of year is always fun because we get to see new faces, and we get to see some faces move around to different places. Faces and places. Get that? So we're very, very happy to have Dr. Cooper's recommendation that you step into that role next year, and we hope that you love it.
Before Dr. Cooper was able to share the news and kind of tell us the story, set the stage of how your announcement went down, I had the fortune of talking to a couple people in the building who told me it was a standing ovation and just a huge energy boosting moment. And then when we got the recap from him, it was one of those things where, you know, sometimes you get the sunny disposition from Dr. Cooper, but like when, you know, it matches up with independent sources, you know, it's always good to see, like, no, he's got it nailed down. That was an awesome moment for that building and for our community, and we're really excited to see you step into that role.
Super grateful. You know, I think about my 4 kids that have gone through that building, and now to have one still in there is to have a leader like you, and following Eric is something that makes this place special, right? You replace a special person with a special person. And so just know that you're supported, you're cared for, and, you know, whatever you need to be successful, we're behind you to ensure that you are successful, because your success is our success. So thank you, Todd family, for allowing us to, use your mom and wife, not use, but like have her in this district. Matt, you put that word in my head, and I was like, I didn't like that word so much. And then I said it, and now it made me feel weird. Sorry. To allow her to serve this community in this way. I know it's a sacrifice for all of you. You have lives and things you want her at, but she may be away a little bit, but I promise it's for a good reason. Eric, you got her? Great. Deanna, thank you so much. We're very proud.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we can take another pause if there are those that would like to leave, or if not, we can trudge along in our.
Those who are
School.
here for strictly item
Yeah.
7 personnel items, if you'd like to move on.
Todd
Yes.
family, thank you so much.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Congratulations.
We're allowed breaks.
Make sure you get a good picture out there together as a family. Yep.
What a cute family.
Everybody needs a little time away. That's why I have a job. Okay, we are at item number 8, superintendent's recommendation action items. Do I have a motion?
Second.
And discussion. Dr. Cooper.
Yes, item A, we have an agreement with the city. This is getting prepared for the Red Rhythm and Boom event. I know that Todd Petrie, Mark Merzanowski work with the city to make sure they have enough transportation to move all the wonderful people in and out for our concerts. I don't know who's playing this year. I don't remember if it's been announced, but,
I think it's a secret still.
oh, still secret.
No, they
Did
announced.
they just announce?
Better than Ezra.
Be better than Ezra. And Tonic opening.
Antonic. There you go. So mark your calendars now, and if you need a ride, there will be Mason City School buses taking you to that big event. So I know it's a big event for our community, so this is the agreement to make sure that happens smoothly, and we're grateful for all of our bus drivers that sign up to help us with that. Item B is just an agreement for an alternative placement to support the needs of a student. Item C, Discovery Education Agreement. This is something that Dr. Brennan and her team brought before us just to bring us up to speed in our last Student Achievement Committee. I think it was the last one. And we looked at Dreambox being an adaptive technology with mathematics to support our students. It's a gamified platform. Our kids love it. We had a young person share their story and how it's impacting them at MECC. So we're just really grateful for Dr. Brennan and her team for finding the right resources to support our kids, and it was timely, right, when we needed it. Item D, this is our annual renewal for OHSAA so that we can continue to see gold medals coming from different events that allows our kids to participate in those big events and succeed on the big stage. Item E is book disposal. Our librarians are continually going through, and any books that are damaged, not used, they have a weeding process that they go through, and that's a list so that people can see what books, and then they replace those books with either new copies or new titles that are relevant for our kiddos. And that goes through a whole process with our teaching and learning team. So those books go through that process before they go out to our kids. Item F is the Character Strong curriculum. This is a support curriculum for Tier 2 for our counselors. That was also highlighted. It was several student achievements ago, maybe, or a couple.
Just last one.
Just last one. I don't know why I had that in my mind. A lot's happened since last time. So highlighted that. That's going to be a great support for students and our counselors. So we're grateful also to be able to review that in our Student Achievement Committee and then bring it forward here with our contract. I think that's it for action items tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper.
Thank you.
Can you clarify, just for the people listening, because I know everybody in this room knows, Tier 2 intervention?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, good question. So we have students that have all kinds of variety of needs. That's the beauty of a district and serving lots of kids. One size fits one. And so as we go through Tier 1, which is kind of the core curriculum in the classroom, and those align with our standards and our teachers have been trained on them, sometimes when they're going through that, we realize that students need a little bit more. And it could be reading, it could be math, it could be even behavior and how they're just kind of acclimating to hallway behavior or classroom behavior. And so they just need additional supports. And some of those supports come in mental wellness supports or in academic supports. In this case, the Character Strong is an additional support that would be in addition to Comic Kid, for example, and some of the things we're doing there, or the My Mason Journey classes, where we're teaching kids to find their true north and really look to what are their skills and their talents that they're bringing. So this would be an additional support that counselors could then use in a small group or one-on-one with a student to help them and support them. Thanks for asking. And then they need additional support. We have a tier 3, and that all goes through the LCSS process, which is learner-centered support systems, and that's also organized and run and facilitated by Dr. Brennan and her team with the Teaching and Learning Experience team, and it is phenomenal. It's using data to make sure that the data drives the resources that we get for our kids. So those are resources that we get for our kids.
Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Cooper. Appreciate it. Any further commentary? Seeing none, Mr. Bevan, please call the roll.
Ms. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
5-0.
We are on to item number 9, the treasurer's report. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
And I will turn this part over to our wonderful treasurer, Mr. Bevan.
Thank you. So actually, before we take a vote, we're going to take a couple minutes, if you will indulge me, and we'll go through some updates here.
I get excited when Sean gets to the podium. It's going to be good.
I wish I was up here talking about my own state championships, but that was never in the cards for me. But grateful we have them here at Mason. Another thing we do have here at Mason is a great community that provides a lot of support, and just thought we could take a couple minutes tonight and update just some financial related things about just the investment that our community makes in our school district and some things that are potentially impacting us across the state. So first thing we always like to take a look at is just some of the rankings that are out there. Niche rankings are something that we like because it does incorporate feedback from people in the district, parents, students, other stakeholders. So back in 2020, when the last operating levy passed, we were at number 5 in Ohio, number 68 in the nation. As we sit here today, number 2 in Ohio, number 68 in the nation still. And on the right side, just some report card data from the fiscal year 24 report card. One of 75 districts to receive the 5-star rating on the report card, 38th top performing district in the state, number 11 in the gap closing measure. So grateful again for our staff and our students that work hard to make those things possible. In terms of finances, so where does our money come from? Where does it go? We have about $140 million operating budget. On the left side here, you can kind of see a little pie graph of where the money comes from. As we all know, our local community really is our lifeline, and so the support that they offer us through their property taxes and voting for levies is really what allows us to do a lot of the things that we do here in the district. The state foundation funding in that light blue section is our second biggest source of revenue. And so those are our 2 biggest chunks. On the operating side, or on the expense side, you can see salaries and benefits, about 83% of our revenue or our expenses. Not surprising, again, we are a people business, a service business. We're not producing inventory or widgets, and so staff really is our biggest asset and our biggest expense. So how do we spend those dollars? Where do we spend those dollars? First thing I like to point out is that on the bottom there, you can kind of see that we're spending at $1,600 below the state average. So one of the things that is a core value for us here at Mason is providing a high quality educational experience and product for our students and families at a high value for our community. And so one of the ways that we try to measure that is by saying, how do our average expenses per student compared to others across the state? And so we are happy to report that we are about $1,600 less than the state average last year. So in terms of that total amount, the total amount we spent per student last year was about $14,600. Where do those dollars go? And so this data is all from the state. They collect that from every school district across the state and report it out. And so our number 1 category is instruction. And so you can see we're about 61.5% last year that we spent on instruction. Happy to say that we're well above the state average of not quite 57%. The second category that is a little bit tied to that is the pupil support category, where we spend 7.3% of our dollars versus state average of 6.3%. I'll back up for a minute and say instructional is a little bit self-explanatory. It's the dollars that we spend in the classroom. So teachers, staff members, supplies, those kinds of things that go into everyday instruction. Pupil support is a little bit related. That's things like guidance counselors, nurses, other kinds of support for kids, but maybe not necessarily directly in the classroom. So again, above the state average on pupil support and instructional support. Building operations is something that we are actually below the state average on. So that would be things like utilities, maintenance, Mr. Petrie's area here. So well done, Mr. Petrie.
They just won't let
Spending below the state average in that category. Administration, you can see we're at 9.5%. The state average is 13.5%. So again, administrative costs, somewhat self-explanatory, but spending a good bit below the state average in that area. In the last category, staff support, 3.2% in Mason versus 3.1 for the state. That category includes things like professional development and those kinds of things. So one of the things that's a big topic right now here in our community and really across the state is the state biennium budget. So every 2 years, the state comes out with their budget, and it really has a big impact on how they're going to fund school districts for the next 2 years. The current state biennium budget is House Bill 96. And so there are some things in there that are pretty significant for schools in general and for Mason as well. One of the things that's most significant for our district is this idea of a cap on the amount of cash reserves that schools can have. And so this kind of started, the way the process rolls is that in February, the governor submits his proposal, his budget proposal. Then it goes to the House deliberates on it, has hearings and reviews it. They finalized their version, which they did last week. And their version included this new piece to it, saying that we're going to limit, or the state might limit, the amount of cash reserves that school districts can have, and that's at 30%. And you can kind of see here on the bottom, if that cap were to go into effect for next year, that is a significant impact for our district. That's a loss of about $18.5 million for our school. And so we'll talk more about that here in a minute, but that's a pretty big deal for us. So how does $18.5 million compare to our total? It's about 13% of our total operating budget. If you look at that on a per student basis, it's just about $1,900 per student. So I mentioned a minute ago, we spend about $14,700 per student each year. And that dollar amount would cost us about $1,900 per student next year. So that's a pretty significant number for us. So if you look at the $1,900 and the different categories that we've looked at here in the last few minutes and say, okay, well, how much do we spend in each of those categories? And if we had to take $1,900 out of any one category, what would that result in? So again, the biggest chunk of our spending is in the instructional category, about $9,043 last year. If you take $1,900 out, you can see we would have to drop that down to $7,143. And you really follow that same idea down through all those sections, down to building operations, administration. If you took a full $1,900 out of the administration category, there would be no administration. We wouldn't even be able to make up that full amount. Same idea with pupil support and staff support. If you had to take that amount just out of those one categories, there wouldn't be nothing left in those categories. So this is a big deal for us. So one of the questions you might be asking, or people are asking, or legislators are asking, is what is the right amount of savings? Why do we have savings? What is the right amount? So for families, there's lots of different financial experts out there who you might listen to or heard of or give their recommendations. Dave Ramsey just happens to be one of them. His personal recommendation for families is that the amount of cash reserves that a family should have on hand is about 3 to 6 months. So on a percentage basis, it's 25 to 50%. And what do we aim for here in the district? Our target really is 2.5 months. So we're a little below that, and so that's about a 20% reserve that we target as our minimum. We can talk more about that in a minute here on why that is, but when we get down below that 20% number, then we know that some additional things need to change, whether it's additional revenues or there's cost reductions or some combination of both of those things. So how much cash reserves did we have on hand last year? I mentioned a minute ago the 30% number is the current proposal for the cap on that number. We finished last year with about 44%. And there's this graph up here that shows a lot of the peer districts for our district, our school. Lakota, Marymount, Madeira, these are kind of schools that are in our Southwest Ohio area that we might say are other high-performing districts that that families would be interested in, and so and we often compare ourselves to. And so Lakota's at the top there, a little above 50%. You can see we're a little above the middle at 44%, and the numbers kind of go down from there. So there are districts, if you look at the statewide data, there are districts that have 75%, 100, 150%, but I would say in this Southwest Ohio area, you can kind of see here, we don't have any districts who are, you know, way off the charts in terms of what those averages are. So how have we operated historically? We're 44% last summer. Where have we been over the last 25 plus years? You can see the numbers here. Back at a little bit below 20%, all the way back in 1998. In 2001, our community supported the district with a 9.95 mil incremental levy. This early 2000s was a super high growth, enrollment growth period for us. We topped out in 2011 with our enrollment. So that was really a season of a lot of growth. So there was another levy after 2001, the next was in 2005. And you can see at no point in the last 25 years have we hit anything above 50%. Again, going back to Dave Ramsey's target numbers, that 3 to 6 months, that 25 to 50%. We as a district have not exceeded 50% in any 1 year over the years. Dropped down below, sorry Tracy, dropped down below 20% back in 2021. Again, that not surprisingly or not coincidentally, that does correspond with our most recent operating levy passed in 2021 at 9.96 mils. And you can see we've kind of gone back up here over the last couple of years, back up to 44% where we are now. So why would a district want or need to save money? House Bill 920 is a measure that we've talked about multiple times over the last few months and over the last few years, and I'll talk more about here in a minute. House Bill 920 really is the number one reason that school districts really get in this cycle of cash reserves, and why you have cash reserves and why you need cash reserves. And again, we'll talk more about that in a minute. So you can kind of see, you saw at the graph there the last 20 years, how many operating levies that have been passed or approved by our community. Really since 2001, there's been 3. And so instead of having, being on a cycle where it's maybe hopefully every 5 to 10 years that we're on the ballot for a levy, if this cash reserve cap came into play, we might be looking at every 2 to 3 years. And so really, and that's one way of looking at it is really to say, if you're going to have a levy every 2 to 3 years instead of every 5 to 10, you're potentially looking at tax increases just because you're on the ballot more often. So House Bill 920, something that gets a lot of press across the state, and the basic concept of House Bill 920, it went into effect in 1976 in Ohio, and the idea here is that as property values increase, the tax rate decreases, and that tax rate is called a millage rate. It's a little different. Property taxes are a little different than income tax or sales tax. Usually you think of percentages in those areas. For property tax, it's based on a mill, and so those millage rates they're not fixed. You think of a sales tax rate, it's really not going to change year to year. Income tax rates are generally not going to change, but millage rates will pretty much, for us at least, and for a lot of schools and a lot of communities, they will not stay the same. They're going to change every year. So this is an illustrative graph that kind of shows a basic concept of, again, how schools operate, or really kind of how they're designed to operate under House Bill 920. So there's a couple different lines on here. The green line is the stair-step line, and the green line really kind of represents our revenues. And so because of House Bill 920, as values go up, the tax rate goes down. The idea there is that you don't have you're not paying additional taxes as your house goes up in value. And so that really results in about a flat revenue for districts who have levies who have been passed that are subject to House Bill 920, and we are one of those districts. So revenues are generally flat, so that's your green line. The line's going to jump up when an operating levy is passed. So in 2001, 2005, 2020, you're going to have an increase there in revenues, and then you're going to be flat again until the next levy goes into effect. So you kind of have that stair-step effect on revenues. Expenses are a little bit more steadily increasing, and so you can kind of see over time when the black line is below the green line, you're kind of adding to your cash reserves. And when the black line is above the green line, you're eating into those cash reserves, eating into your savings account. So if we look at this next one, that's kind of the concept. And so for us as a district, that red circle on the left there, again, the black line exceeding the green line, so we were eating into our cash reserves. That was actually the actual result for us in fiscal year 18 through fiscal year 21. Again, we were on the ballot in 2020. That levy did pass, so then in fiscal year 22 through fiscal year 25, our revenues have exceeded our expenses, and so we've been adding to that cash balance. And so really, this is kind of the cycle of how a lot of school districts work across the state, and why you get that kind of up and down that you even saw a couple graphs ago, where one year we're at 20%, and maybe we kind of work our way up to 40% and back down to 20%. And this really is the driver of why those things happen. So one of our concerns with the potential proposal in House Bill 96 is that you've got districts like Mason who are kind of honestly operating the way that the state designed this system to work. So back in 1976, House Bill 920 went into effect. The idea there again was we're not going to have an unvoted increase in property taxes, and so as values go up, millage rates go down, and really, if school districts are going to get more money, they need to be asking their communities for support via operating levies every so often. And so that's really the way that we as a district have operated. And so in some ways it kind of feels like a penalty for doing things the way that the state kind of set the system up. And so that's one of the problems we have with this proposal. Another is that it's just just the idea that you're kind of taking away local control. So those levies have been approved by the local community. One of the beauties, in my opinion, of public education is the school district belongs to the community. Every community owns their own school district, and so we have a voted, elected Board of Education, and we have local taxpayers who are voting for levies or not voting for levies, and so there's a lot of local control in public ed, and so this proposal takes away some of that local control. So 20 mil floor, we talked about this a little bit. How many districts across the state are on the 20 mil floor and how many are not? We're pretty much right at 2/3 of the districts are on the 20 mil floor. So if you're on the 20 mil floor, that House Bill 920 really is kind of taken out of the equation. So it's really no longer in effect. And so as values increase, millage rates can drop, but they can only drop so far. And right now we're at 29 mils, but if we were at 20 mils, we couldn't drop anymore. So as, again, we've all know the last couple of years we've had great increases or large increases in property values in the market. And so if you're in a district, and there's 409 of them across the state right now, if you're a district on the 20 mil floor and your house goes up in value by 10%, you're going to see a 10% increase in your property taxes. If your house goes up by 20% or 30%, the same. If you're not on the 20 mil floor like we are here in Mason, then you're not going to have that kind of increase. And so this is a significant factor that really is kind of, if you look at a macro level of how schools are working and operating in the state and what the state is trying to accomplish with this House Bill 96, this is a big factor in that. So one of the things you might hear is that if the state implemented a 30% cap on cash reserves, there is tax relief for communities across the state. One of the ones we'll start with the second bullet point here. One of the ones I mentioned earlier is that if you implement this, instead of having, for us, for example, instead of having a levy every 5 to 10 years, we might be looking at a levy every 2 to 3 years. So it doesn't really sound like tax relief. And so maybe it's a temporary adjustment, but really in the long run, it almost exasperates the problem. On the first one, so House Bill 920, again, causing a lot of districts to see increases in local property tax payments because their values have risen. So those districts that are on the 20 mil floor, you've got, across the state, you've got thousands of homeowners who are in those districts, and this cap really is not, if that's part of what the state's trying to accomplish or trying to combat here, there's no guarantee that putting this cap in effect is gonna help those communities. It may, but it may not. And so there's, is it really tax relief? I would argue not necessarily. Next graph that we wanted to look at is that, so a lot of what we talked about so far is local property taxes. The other thing that's a significant factor for us here, you might recall earlier on that slide, the graph that showed 27% of our revenues coming from the state. A lot of that's from the state foundation funding formula. This graph kind of shows our total funding from the state. So you go back all the way on the left-hand side, fiscal year 15, so it's we're sitting here today in fiscal year 25. So 10 years ago, our state funding was at $4,500 per student. Right here, as we sit here today, we're in fiscal year 25, we're at $4,500 per student. So our community, again, is our lifeline, and so we're not going to get any help. History tells us we're not going to get help from the state, and so the only chance we have is getting support from our community. And so putting this limit on cash reserves, again, limits our ability to function in a healthy financial way locally, and we already know that we're not going to get help from the state. So one of the things that we work hard at and pride ourselves on is delivering value for our community. And so if you look over the last few years, we really feel like we're doing a lot of things that the state would hope that a model school district would do. And hopefully our community and people are happy with the results that they've seen here over the last few years. To go back to COVID, we were one of the districts that was kind of leading the way in staying open and making sure that we had opportunities and experiences available for kids and families through that. And then the last couple bullet points, as I mentioned earlier, consistently ranking as a high achieving district while spending at an amount that's below the state average is something that's a key goal and priority for us, and it's something that the data shows we've been able to see over the last few years. You might have seen an email here the last week where we sent some updates out on potential impacts of House Bill 96 and some of the letters that we sent to our legislators asking them to reconsider and to make adjustments to these proposals. We also asked for our community members to make their voices heard, and we heard from several people in the community that did reach out. We've also heard from our legislators that they are hearing people in our community, and so we just wanted to say that your voice does matter. We're grateful for the support of our community, for making your voices heard, and it is helping in the process. That's all I have on that part. Any questions from anybody?
For anybody watching, just for process, can you just share where we are in the process? So it's in the Senate. The ball is in the Senate's court. What are the next steps so people
Great
know
question.
where we stand?
Thank you. So as I mentioned, the governor submits his proposal in February. Then it goes to the House. The House deliberates. They passed their version last week. It's currently in the Senate. Thank you. It'll be in there for a few more weeks. So they'll go through their hearings and their adjustments to the budget. And then from there, probably in June, it will make its way over to what they call conference committee, where there's representatives from both chambers where they're working through differences, and then the budget bill goes into effect by the end of June. So we still have a few more weeks in the process. We are working with our legislators on a daily basis to try to make these adjustments in a way that would help our community. But yes, thank you for the.
Thank you, Sean.
Could you go back to the slide on the per pupil spending? I want to say there was a $14,000 number you threw out there.
Sorry, that was right here.
Okay. I heard it. I was looking for it.
You did hear it. That is right.
Can you go back over what that number was that you talked about?
Yep. Well, it was 14,000. So our average expenditure per pupil last year was 14,600. The state average is about 16,100-ish.
And what do we get from the state again?
We get 4,500.
So that amount that you described, I just Googled on just to catch up with my alma mater what the tuition per year is at St. X, and it's about $16,400, not including a technical fee. But I think there's a material difference of interest to some of our attendees tonight. I know I've got family with special needs that would not be able to attend a private school, and even if they had the money to pay that, their situation makes public school the only viable choice for them. And that tuition amount that goes into how we are able to accommodate not just the high performing students that we celebrate a lot here in Mason, but a lot of the students whose families pick Mason very specifically for the services we provide. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's a great point. And I think one of the things that is key to remember is that you think of a private school or even colleges, there's an application process, there's, do they have the right space? Do they have the ability to serve each kid? And so that's really not, the application process is not something that public school districts, including Mason, will ever be part of. It's, if a kid comes and enrolls, we will enroll them, and we will serve them as best as we possibly can, no matter what their needs are. So.
I think it's also worth noting, I don't know if it was in one of your slides or not, but we're in constant communication with different associations and groups, and we've received communication kind of showing, as you look across the state, where everybody falls in terms of cash reserves as a percentage of operating expenses for the most recent year. And the state average is something like 45%. We actually come below that, right underneath that as a district. And there are districts that, are below us, obviously, but there are some that are significantly higher. And I think that's a testament to when we ask the community for money, we don't ask for more than we need. We don't ask for less than we need. We ask for what we need. And we make sure that there is a purpose for every dollar that we receive and that we spend, and that we are not hoarding or building up a war chest to just feel good about where our money is, because that's, in my view, just as irresponsible as overspending. The taxpayers that we serve want their tax dollars to go to good use, and I feel like where we see ourselves in the relation to the rest of the state, as you mentioned when we talk to our legislators, we are a model for other districts.
Absolutely, that's a great point. I won't mention anybody by name. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a ton of districts. You're exactly right. There's a ton of districts that are at 100%, 150%. There's a lot of districts out there that are at our higher amounts, and so you saw the graph. It's a testament to this board and previous boards and previous teams from lots of years ago that we've never exceeded that 50% threshold, and that's something that we do work hard at doing. Is we understand that we are stewards of our taxpayer dollars, and so it's high value for us to make sure that we're taking that role very seriously.
So, two questions sort of in one, kind of tug on that private school thread just a little bit. Maximum reimbursement through a voucher to go to a non-public school is what? Is at a high school level is like $8,000.
Right.
Right. And we get funded how much again from the state?
$4,500.
Got it.
He said 4,500.
He said 4,500. Yeah, that we get.
I'm just saying it because it was kind of quiet.
Yeah, it's 45. And can you talk about the tax collection process and when levies occur, when the money shows up, so that we can talk about, so you can kind of illustrate that for the folks listening?
Yep, sure. That's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. So one of the reasons, in addition, is one of the things that is kind of a byproduct of House Bill 920 in that graph we looked at was there is obviously a timing and a process to go through if a community supports or approves a levy. I'll take our most recent example from 2020. So the community voted in 2020. That was an incremental levy. So there were a phased-in levy. There were two parts of that. So the first part of that levy began collection in calendar year 2021. And so again, the levy passed in 2020. The first phase of that levy, we received a partial collection for in fiscal year 2021. We received a full collection for that first phase in fiscal year 22. Then the second phase started in 2022. Then the second phase really didn't get to full collection until fiscal year 23. So to summarize all those things, levy was passed in 2020. We didn't get to full collection, fully phased in full collection until fiscal year 23. So there is a lag period between the time that the money is approved until you really get to full collection. So thank you. That's a great point, and it is another significant factor to why those reserves are necessary, because it's not, in the meantime, we're not pausing operations until the money comes in. We're not, we're continuing on. Dollars are being spent in the meantime as we're kind of waiting for those revenues to come in.
Sean, can you put a fine point on how the cap would work? So it's a cap on cash reserves, and the way it would effectively work is to say that if you cross that threshold, or you're above that 30% threshold at the end of your fiscal year, in the next calendar year, the auditor can't collect taxes for you. So we're talking about locally voted millage through levies. So Columbus telling the community of Mason, we know you made a decision and used your constitutional right to support your local schools and vote at the voting booth a certain way, and we don't agree with that, and we're going to tell you that you cannot pay your district your property taxes that you voted on. So, I mean, maybe this is just a grand scanning request for a yes or no answer, but can you just
Sure.
I'm right about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you're,
Just said it.
you're exactly, yeah.
Can you confirm
What
that?
he
No,
said.
you're exactly right. I mean, our fiscal year obviously ends June 30th, and so what we're hearing so far is that the way that it would work is that they're going to look, say it's going to look at your cash reserve balances as of the end of June. Taxes are assessed and collected on a calendar year basis, and so basically if your cash reserves exceed that 30% threshold at the end of June, then that fall, then the county auditor would be tasked with making an adjustment to the millage rate, the tax millage rate, and then that would go into effect the following January. And so for that full calendar year, like in our case, we would be down $18.5 million, so he would reduce collections by $18.5 million to bring us under that 30%.
And our community is very intelligent, in tune, understands what a levy cycle means, right? We showed them, to Charles's point, the cycle of a levy and only asking for money when you need it for what you need. So I think this is, for Mason, this is particularly difficult to swallow, because our community understands how a levy cycle works on the step graph that you showed us, that you take in more, you build up a cash reserve, and then you cross a threshold because costs are increasing at a steady level, and then you have to dip into them. And when you get to a certain point, then and only then do you go back to your voters and ask for more money. So it's really difficult for us to take as a prospect. So thank you for sharing this tonight, Sean. Sure.
So two really quick things. One, it's really inverted, because in business you think fixed costs, rising revenues, right? But in schools it's fixed revenues, rising costs. So I think sometimes it's hard for people, because you're stuck in a business mindset, like, well, you want fixed costs. Well, we don't have fixed costs. It's not how this works. Two, can you opine how they would? You said it was 2/3 of the districts that are on the 20 mil floor. If we're going to get our millage withheld until it hits the 18.5, those that are on the 20 mil floor, how does that work? How would this legislation impact those districts, or would it at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. So far, what they're saying is that it really wouldn't matter if you're on the 20 mil floor or not, that they would give counties the authority to reduce down below that. So the way as we sit here today, if there are districts hit that 20 mil floor and they can't go below, if there were some district for some reason dropped below 20 mils this year, if they were only collecting 15 mils, for example, they would no longer be eligible for state aid. But what they're telling us in these proposals is that they're going to get rid of that requirement, so that districts can drop below 20 mils. They can still get their state aid, but maybe they drop down to 15 mils or 10 mils or 5, whatever they might need to get down to 30%.
So they eliminate the 20 mil floor. Got it.
Sean, another point too, we can't mix money, bond money, capital funding versus operating money. So my understanding is that would have no impact, whatever's in our capital funds. They might come in and say you've got too much cash in your reserves, but the capital money is not touched. Is that correct?
As of today, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So really what's going on here is we've gone to the powers that be, our taxpayers, told them what we're going to spend the money on, why we need it. They agree with us. And someone who's not in the family is going to come in and tell us, you can't have this bank account. They don't care what we ask for the money to do. They don't care. There's no consideration for us to say, hey, we got this money voted in legitimately, and it's for a purpose. Some of those bills haven't come due yet, but that's what the money is for. There's no allowance for any of this, and that's what
Yeah, you're right.
And also, once you move the money into the permanent improvement fund, you cannot move it out. That's where it lives.
That is correct.
Any other commentary?
Well, thank you. If other questions you guys have or community members have, always feel free to reach out to me, phone call, email. Always happy to talk through this. And again, thanks to our community for all your support, for your reaching out. It does make a difference, and obviously our community is a lifeline of what we do, and so we are always grateful for their support.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate it. You make us smarter.
Now we get a vote.
Well, I don't know if he wants to talk us through,
Oh, yeah.
the rest of it. So he just sits back down.
So in terms of voting on the treasury report items, we do have our monthly financial reports from the month of February. And we talked a lot about House Bill 96, so we'll continue to monitor that as it goes through the process and keep you guys and our community updated.
Thank you, Sean. I just want folks to notice that if you look at our agenda, these are all in arrears, right? When we do accounting, we look backwards. It's not we forecast, but we collect money in arrears. That's really critical to understand. So there's that. Any other commentary? Seeing none, Mr. Bevan, please call the roll.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Ms. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Yingling?
yes.
5-0.
Well, we have made it to committee reports. Item number 10. It looks like we've had about 5 committee meetings. So start with Arts and Activities Council.
We approved a trip for the math team, April 27th and 29th. They finished in the top 6 out of 794 teams in the nation. That then qualified them to go on a fully paid competition to New York. And so because of their high ranking, completely paid for. So they'll be competing there, putting all their math skills to work. Really excited to be able to follow their journey there. And then we also approved our Science Olympiad, who is really a dynasty in Ohio, for them to go. Also, same kind of time period, April 25th and 26th, they'll be competing in Ohio State. We also approved a couple new clubs, including an MMS fashion club at Mason Middle School. We already have one at the high school, and they were very thoughtful and understood that while that building doesn't have the student who proposed the club kind of recognized they didn't have sewing machines and things there, but they were thinking of all of the opportunities that they could do to do some hand knitting and some other kinds of fashion. So we'll get to see that, hopefully with Joanne being out of commission. Maybe that's making all the crafters in the world a little nervous. So they'll be sourcing their materials all different kinds of places. And then at the high school, they also had a great new club, History Unfolded, and they're going to be exploring history here in Mason. I know our Mason Historical Society just recently had a reopening of the Alberta Green Museum. That's on their list of places to hit. So continue to love and support our students bringing great ideas for their peers to show leadership, but also to really explore their purpose and potential through student clubs.
Thank you, Tracy. And Athletic Council's up to bat next.
Yes, Athletic Council, we had a quick meeting, but we did go through the budget for the year and just to see where we are and that we are on budget. We also looked at 2 overnight trips. We approved those. Baseball and softball both went over spring break to compete and continue to build their success. We also looked at, we sent out, or we reviewed the sending out of the winter end of sports season surveys to our families, and so we made sure those were going out and going well. And then some of the things we talked about coming up are some just further conversation about there was a moment where we weren't sure if we're going to have refs for lacrosse. That's worked itself out. There was a little bit of a negotiation with lacrosse refs. We're glad that worked out because lacrosse continues to go on. But we had a moment there what our backup plan was going to be. And then we also talked about the calendar for athletic boosters, trying to get those collected on the same page, just so we can understand the fundraising rhythms that we have out there for boosters, and just how does that fit into the larger context of fundraising. We're a large organization, but just trying to get a sense of where all of those are landing so we can respect the timelines.
That's very good. Thank you, Jonathan. I think we're at Business Advisory.
Yeah, Business Advisory, Sean did, just like he did here, a phenomenal job at communicating. I did a little bit of state of the school, but then Sean really did a great job explaining that to our business partners. And before we got to go on stage, we had our XLP give their update. This, one of the exciting parts of Business Advisory for us here locally is when we relaunched it with our XLP as part of the fabric of that. And so they give an update every time. They're so impressive. They talked this time about mentorship and also XLP Junior going off from the high school into our younger grade levels. Anything you want to add to that? Or okay.
Thank you. Mason Schools Foundation, Tracy.
We got to bring on or approve 3 new board members to our Mason Schools Foundation board. We have a long nominating committee and a process. But we're thrilled to welcome Sapna Gupta, Brandon Jones, and Lindsay Smith to our team. We're thrilled at their strengths and perspectives and stories that they will help fill out a board that is very much a working board. We don't have any paid staff on the Mason Schools Foundation, so everyone has a significant role to play, and we're excited to have them joining.
Wonderful. And we'll close it out with Student Achievement Committee and Dr. Brennan.
We had a full meeting in March. We met at MECC. As Dr. Cooper mentioned earlier, we had an opportunity to learn more about Dreambox, which is a technology-based adaptive resource that supports math learning. That we had a team of teachers piloting in grades K through 6, and had such, along with a couple of other options, and had such rave reviews from our students who really enjoy it, as well as the teachers. There was a desire to adopt district-wide, and that happened tonight. So thank you for that support. And also Lexia, which is a similar product in grades, we have in grades K through 12 that supports reading development. These are resources that all students can access, and at elementary they all do access, but also have specific resources for intervention for students. When you're asking about tier 2, Mr. Orr, that really allow that extra level of support for students who need it, both on the computer, but also have lessons that educators can use to give targeted support when they see those skill needs. So a big thanks also to first grade teacher Jenny Davis and her students Brogan and Angie, who actually came and demonstrated the products for us, showed us how it worked and what they like about them as well. So in addition to that, TJ Glassmeyer, our learner wellbeing and support supervisor, shared about Character Strong, which our counselors, our prevention and wellness team had looked at, really looking just for a shared resource to support that need for students who need more resources and learning around behavior or social skills. And again, universally, really, this was their top choice. So they're excited to have that evidence-based resource to draw from. Highlights from Dan Little about our AI Explorers team, which continues to go strong. And we got to hear from, it really was a packed meeting. We got to hear from Christy Eckler and Melissa Bly about the My Mason Journey Specials class and what that looks like in 2nd grade, where it started, and experience it a bit as well.
That sounds like a very packed meeting, so well done. We are now on to item number 11, legislative update. So I will send it to Dr. Cooper.
Yeah, just echo what Sean Bevan shared tonight. Really, the main thing that we're watching in legislation right now is House Bill 96. That is the main piece of legislation that we all need to pay attention to. Right now, just to remind everybody of the timeline, the Senate will resume conversations April 28th, which is in 2 weeks. They're on a 2-week recess right now, but when they come back, we have to be at the table, ready to go, to watch what's going on. We've given plenty of suggestions. I've shared directly with Senator Wilson the things you heard tonight, and also just our concerns. And lots of suggestions of how to course correct in a way that would honor our taxpayers locally and that it would not cause additional tax burden on our folks. And so we'll continue to advocate on behalf of our kids, as you heard our speaker tonight and also Sean Bevan share in our board. So we'll continue to watch that. But that's the big thing. In 2 weeks, stay tuned, and we'll continue to give updates to our community. If you have not taken the time to write our legislators, please do that. Like, it does matter. They do hear us, and they do keep count of how many times they are receiving letters and phone calls. So please continue to spread the word. It matters.
Thank you for the update, and thank you for your advocacy. We appreciate you. You still have to run the district, but making sure that we have a seat at the table and they hear our voice is critical. So thank you for making sure that happens. On to item number 12, administrator commentary. And per custom, we start with Mrs. Carson.
Great. I want you to know about an outrageous weekend that is coming up. April 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, we have Hadestown. This is really exciting. They picked 7 high schools in the country who are kind of getting to debut Hadestown Teen Edition. We are one of them. I'm hearing fantastic things from all the students involved, so you will not want to miss it. Also, the caliber of student artists we have. Dr. Cooper every year has the arduous task of trying from the art that is carefully selected by our educators to get in the show, which is magnificent. He then also comes through and starts to choose a superintendent, but just to come through and see the levels of work, and that, it's amazing. So that's Friday and Saturday. You can go check out the District Art Show. And then also the City of Mason has the Mason Symphony Orchestra going with Bolero. And I've heard this is going to be incredible, and that will be at the middle school on Saturday, April 26th. So if you want to see incredible visual arts, if you want to see incredible theater, if you want to hear incredible instrumental performances, this will be a weekend you will not want to miss.
I love your use of the phrase outrageous. That was very clever. But no, please go out and support if you can. Are these free of charge?
They are not.
They're not, okay.
Well, the District Art Show is free of charge.
Right.
So District Art Show, free of charge. Hadestown has a small fee. That is because there are rights that you need to do
Correct.
to play. However, it's a great question because our seniors who are Golden Comic Card holders, they actually can attend for free. So if you are 60, which now seems way too young, we may have to look at that because I feel like, no, you are not that will be something coming soon, maybe. But anybody 60 and above in our community may attend Hadestown or any of our athletic events for free. You do need to call my office, 513-398-0474, option 7. And we will actually get you a kit. And if you want to go with your family member, just let us know. We will actually make sure that you are seated with your family member. We think it's really important that our senior citizens get to do that. The Mason Symphony Orchestra also is a small cost as well. But
That is awesome. Thank you for doing that, Tracy. It really, really helps get folks to our events. Dr. Brennan.
I had the opportunity last Thursday to attend our Future Ready Resource Fair for individuals with disabilities, and just wanted to give a big shout out to the team that planned that, specifically thinking about Gina Fox and Carrie Thompson and all of our special ed team. It was just a really wonderful opportunity and showed the strong partnerships that team works to develop day in and day out with all sorts of different agencies, organizations, educational partners, giving students and families and an opportunity to really explore early on, and some families there with younger kids. I mean, it's, they're planning as we all should, years and years in advance, to think about sort of what's the right fit and next for my student or for me as a student. in this room got to hear about Project Search, and I think one of the powerful things too was to hear from our students who are asking the presenters questions about what's offered, and is there an option for a teacher training experience as well, which was really neat. And the highlight was really, we had a few of our alumni from our work study program who have participated in various different opportunities and programs share their experience, and just really remarkable. And now giving back in our community, they're alums as far as 7 years ago, and still so connected to their Comet identity too. So a shout out to everybody involved in that.
Thank you, Dr. Brennan. Dr. Blessing.
Good evening. Congratulations to Carrington. So fun to see all of her accomplishments, and Mrs. Todd as well. Looking forward to working with her and getting to know her better. I just want to give a shout out to the principals and the staff. I know they're all hiring in each of the buildings right now, and they're putting in a lot of hard work and adding things to Dr. Cooper's calendar on a regular basis. And I'm looking forward to officially starting in a couple weeks. So thank you.
We look forward to it as well.
And I'm super excited to welcome Deanna Todd into her new role. She's going to be fantastic, and thank her family also for supporting her in that endeavor. Also, I wanted to thank Jonathan and Dan Little for their efforts in leading the Futures team, of really kind of jet setting or helping us to look forward about where we could and should go, and bringing individuals, including teachers, community members, et cetera, around that topic to really just wrestle with where we are. A lot's changing right now, and to be able to think of that and have folks in the room to just investigate and learn together. So I'm really excited about that work. And then lastly, if you know of anyone that wants to come to Mason City Schools for 25-26 school year, registration is open. And we encourage you to register early, so just go to the website. You can follow a wizard, tells you everything that you need to get together to actually formally register, but we'd love to get everyone registered early so they can get all the information, everything they need early on.
If you follow the wizard, you get to Oz. Just saying. Mr. Petrie.
I think in the personnel report you all heard, Mr. Mark Mersnowski is going to be retiring. That'll be January 1st, 2026, and not a day before if you're watching this, Mr. Mersnowski. But I have to say, Mark has been in the district, I'm just going to take a shot at this, probably 25 to 27 years maybe. We'll fact check that and get that right eventually. But Mark is one of those people. He was the middle school assistant principal for a number of years. And anywhere you go, if you say Mr. Mers, people know who that is. And as a leader, when you see the respect that people have for him and the confidence in how he's going to carry out his job, that's just one of those things I think we all aspire to accomplish as a leader. And Mark, definitely. I just working with him as the transportation director, not only have we become good friends, but he will do what it takes to get the job done. And it's finding people like that this day and time is not easy. Hence why we're taking our time going through the search to try to find the right person, because Mark has turned, as the leader, transportation into a place it's never been to before. We're retaining staff, knock on wood. I better watch how I praise this, when other districts aren't. And there's a reason for that, for the culture that's been established there. And there's a lot of credit that does go to Mark. And we're hopeful that we do find someone to fulfill those shoes. And Mark will be here with them to help them learn how to navigate that. I mean, we have 107 bus routes a day. So we've talked to a lot of people, yeah, we have 28 buses. Man, we have 28 buses that just do half of a school. So it is a huge enterprise that that he oversees with his team and the drivers. And anytime, if you're listening to our radio, they're just all willing to help. If a route's running late somewhere, there's traffic, someone will jump in. Teams like that are created. They just don't happen. And leadership's what generates those types of cultures. So I'm going to miss him, and I know the district will. But if you're out there, Mark, you've done an excellent job. He's already looking at what he's going to do for the next career. So Who knows? He might be selling everybody a house in Mason. We'll just have to see.
We are grateful for his service and for the few more months we get him, and hopefully can download as much as we can of that wonderful leadership and culture that he's got. So appreciate that, Todd. Mr. Bevan.
Just want to congratulate Deanna Todd and her family. Thank them for their commitment to stepping up and support her in her interim principal role this year. So looking forward to working with her. Definitely congratulations to Carrington. Quite an accomplishment to be a state champion. Also big thanks to Tony and Mr. Oliver for, I know Mr. Oliver mentioned the culture of the team and the environment, and so just great work by them all the way around.
Indeed. Dr. Cooper?
Jet-setting, sunny disposition. I don't think I've ever been called either one of those. Add those to my, anyways, my profile. Sorry to get off track there. I am so excited to announce, this just came in a few hours ago, that we reapplied to continue to be recognized as a Purple Star District, and so we're on a rotating rhythm there where you have to continue to reapply and you have to meet some different criteria. Heather Smith has been our point person. During COVID, Heather Smith was subbed in as an admin assistant for me, for an executive assistant, and she did that for a little while, and she goes, I said, Heather, this is a little bit of a crazy time in this office right now because there's a lot going on, and so she navigated that with us. But one of the things I asked her, is there one thing you would like to see happen in our district that's really personal to you? And she's a military family, and she said, I would love to be recognized as a district, as a Purple Star District, welcoming military families and recognizing their kids. And so this is Military Family Week, and celebrating today is Purple Up Day. So I got my purple bow tie on today, but there are other celebrations happening in the buildings. She's kind of built a network, and so if you're a military family out there, I want to just thank you for your service, and thank your kids and your family as well, because I know that's not just, it's a family business. And Deanna Todd, speaking of family business, I know they weren't here. I wanted to share with her kids how proud we are of her mom, their mom. She is a great leader, and we've all witnessed that and been blessed by her leadership. And to see the standing ovation, and it was a standing ovation that you would have gotten goosebumps. There was tears. It was just a wonderful moment to see, and that was a long process to go through for us, finding the right leader for the building, and we take that really serious. And so to arrive at Deanna Todd, we feel super confident and excited to see her continue to grow, and we will support her all the way. We mentioned House Bill 96, so please mark your calendars, April 28th. The art show, Tracy mentioned, please join us for the art show. It's amazing artwork. Please check it out. It's free. Stop in April 25th and 26th. Brewing Up Conversations, we have people showing up at those on a regular basis. I want to thank our community for showing up. Our community does show up. I have colleagues out there, when I tell them that we do these Brewing Up Conversations, they said, how do you get people to come out? I'm like, well, people come out, and we have regulars come out, and we have other people, they invite people. Last night we had our Brewing Up Conversation, and a gentleman, he brought his friend who was just visiting from China to just see if this would be a transition they want to make as a family from China to the United States. And his friend came to our Brewing Up Conversation, and that was just a couple months ago, I think, maybe it was a few months ago, and he moved his family over. So they moved in and made a commitment to Mason. And so it's just neat to see families coming through and doing great stuff. And then admin assistants, I mentioned that. Admin Assistance Day is next week. So, right? Next week? Did I have that right? Keep that on your calendar, because our admin assistants do so much work that this district relies on to keep this place running, the momentum, the quality, and supporting all the things that all the great things we talked about today. They are the backbone of all that. So I just want to honor them, and if you have a second to write them a note, please do. Thanks.
I'll try to remind Angie to remind you that it's.
Yeah, she'll put it on my calendar. Yep.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you. I appreciate that. You know me well.
We've come to the almost end, and we've got board commentary, so I will start. Mr. Charles Galvin.
Thank you, Ian. Gosh, we're already almost at 9 o'clock, so try to keep it brief. I want to commend the City of Mason for putting together a amazing 50th anniversary program commemorating the end of the Vietnam War a couple of weeks ago. It was sellout, standing room only crowd, despite the fact, as the city manager pointed out, it was not picnic weather, and they still showed up for the parade. Still had standing room and overflow in the municipal building. I think I heard they said they awarded 97 lapel pins to veterans who attended, which was really cool. And I know there were a few more veterans that did not get included in that number, but hopefully still got their lapel pins handed out. But the coolest part about the program, I think they put together they spent hours interviewing local veterans and getting firsthand accounts of their experiences. And that was just such a powerful video that they put together to hear, the range of perspectives from before, during, returning home throughout that period. And it was really, really well done. And I would encourage anybody, I think it is on YouTube if you go searching for it. Encourage anybody that did not get a chance to catch that, at the very least, go find the portion of that. I think it's only about 15 minutes where they interviewed our local veterans, but that was very cool. I know we had our own Mr. Charpentier leading the community in the Pledge of Allegiance at that ceremony, as well as some other local celebrities as well. So that was worth mentioning. And then also wanted to just echo some of the praise that we've heard this evening for our district communication. Specifically, I know Tracy and Jonathan put a lot of time together with Sean and the district leadership team in crafting some of the communications and highlighting the points of emphasis when we are advocating on behalf of our district. It is not lost on us, by the way, that the current version of the budget would increase the amount of money that we receive from the state funding formula for probably the first time in I don't know how many years, which we're appreciative of, and that's great. Now, if we could just do something about that cap, that would be awesome, because obviously it's a net loss as it stands right now. But we have confidence in our legislators. I know that they hear our voices. I've personally spoken to both of them, and no daylight between the message that we've sent out publicly to our district. I'm confident that they will deliver a budget to our community that respects and honors the decisions we've made at the local level to support our schools. And then lastly, I just wish everybody a happy Holy Week and Easter coming up this Sunday, and a happy Passover to those that celebrated this past weekend. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin. Go over to my left, and Mrs. Yingling.
You're far left.
Far. That's funny.
Jonathan, I'd like to thank you. You always put such deep thought into the presentations. Sorry about my voice. I think it's these allergies forget me. You put so much deep thought behind the presentations that you bring to our board meetings, and it just does my soul so warm and fuzzy to see things like Carrington and what she's accomplished. Also, not really part of a presentation, but love to see one of our own moving into the principalship.
Yeah.
That's always good to have. And I guess it's that time of year, and I guess the next time we see everyone in this place, graduation will be over, I think. Is that right? Or close to it?
We'll be getting close, yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, it's either the week after or the week right before. But yeah, looking forward to another
Great.
season of moving a class out and getting ready for another one. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mrs. Yingling. Ms. Batchy. Where do you?
I'm going to ask for grace.
Okay.
I have no-
Yep. Just keep the Batchy family in your thoughts and in your prayers at this moment. We care for you. We're here for you. we appreciate that you show up. So, thank you. Mr. Steele.
Yes, so is the spring musical maybe the unofficial kickoff to the slippery slope to graduation and end of school year?
yeah,
It
we're
might
on
be the, I think we're at that point. So I just wanted to say to everybody in the district, enjoy these last few weeks of school. At every level, we're going to have a lot of transitions. As I mentioned when Deanna was up, that my family's going to be transitioning out of the elementary grades. And it's a bittersweet moment. We'll be in the middle school and high school. High school, that's crazy. But a lot of folks in the district are experiencing transitions, none more so than our families with graduating seniors. So just enjoy these last few weeks, and it's going to go fast, we all know, but just enjoy every moment and soak it up. And Sean and Jonathan, thank you for the presentation tonight on House Bill 96. I echo Charles's comments about the fantastic communications and spirit of our communications and how we're telling the story of a district doing it the right way, and yet we're being asked to, we're being forced to possibly face a cap and a reduction in local funding. And so I also wanted to thank our community for the passion that we know lies here in our district, and the passion and the support for the district and wanting to speak on behalf of our students and families and teachers. We thank you for the passion all the time. This is one of those moments we talk a lot about. When is the right moment for the district to formally advocate and ask the community to step up and communicate on behalf of the district? This is one of those times. And so we thank those who have communicated to our legislators. We're all talking to folks. Sean and Jonathan, as always, are doing what they can in Columbus. So keep it up. They're listening. We keep being told that not only are they hearing what you're saying, they respect what you're saying. And so please, please, please keep that up. So, and that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Everything that's been said has been, anything I would say. The Vietnam, the 50th celebration. My father's a veteran. My grandfather fought in World War II. My nephew currently serves in the Navy. My best friend, who lost his mother last week, is an Army veteran, served in Iraq. So my life is filled with those who have honorably served their country. So to just witness that, I had to call my dad after I had a moment, just because serving and sacrificing isn't always appreciated when it's done. And we don't always get the thank you immediately after. Sometimes we have to catch up to what has been done to really appreciate what was done, and to hear the stories of those men and women who served, and to see a whole community turn out to say welcome home and thank you, made me deeply grateful to live in a place like this, because this community does a great job of saying thank you, whether it's coming out to support an event like that, or supporting a levy that keeps our school district great. They are appreciative of those that serve on their behalf, and I don't ever want to lose that. I don't ever want to not have the gratitude of the community, and I think that's really cool, what we do here as board members, because there's no letter by our name. We're here to serve them. And so I hope our community understands that that's what we're here to do. We advocate for you on your behalf, so that you can continue to be proud of the school district and community that you live in. So just know that we rally together when we're threatened or hurt, and we support one another. So I'm just grateful to live and serve in a community like this. Want to say thank you again to the Todd family, specifically Deanna. I think she'll be fantastic. She has already been fantastic for this district. And Carrington, as a young woman that I have gotten to know, I know a lot of you guys know I'm a track dad. My daughter and her have high jumped since they were in middle school together. So to see her accomplish that, and her last indoor state meet was just something that we all were super excited about. So track season continues to unfold in these inclement, frigid times. So, you know, if it's the weekend, you'll either find me on a track or in a field watching my son play ultimate. So I hope that you guys have a great Holy Week for those that celebrate, and Passover. And let's continue to care and share with each other, because this is it's tough. It's a tough time. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yes.